On the Facebook profile, and that is from John Kennedy. He says, Ian, you usually mock nonsense, so why wouldn't you mock this nonsense unless you felt you were taking advantage of the guy by having him on the air? And I don't feel like we were taking advantage of Mr. Tackpants. I think I made it pretty clear that I didn't understand much of what it was that he was saying. There wasn't any...
I don't think either of us understood much of what he was saying.
No, but I think he has the best of intentions, and I think he is an interesting character, and he will entertain you. You don't have to understand what he's saying to be entertained, or to be entertained by what it is that he does on his YouTube channel. I mean, he paints up his face, he makes bizarre drawings, and has explanations for all kinds of things that, you know, they might not make any sense to you and I, but they certainly do to Mr. Tackpants. And so there was no duplicity, there was no, scamming going on there with Mr. Tackpants, whereas when we've had Gene Ray on the show in the past from timecube.com, there has been a technique that we've used where we'll basically push a button here in the studio and we'll make it so Gene can't hear us, and then we'll kind of tell you, hey, we're just going along with Gene Ray. Like, we don't actually believe what it is that Gene Ray's saying, but we kind of play along with Gene Ray. I didn't do that with Mr. Tackpants because he's not he's more with it, I think, than Gene Ray, and so I just told Mr. Tackpants straight out, look, I don't really get what it is where you're coming from, but I do want to hear your story, and it's an interesting story. I mean, the guy was truck driver for 25 years, and then saw this apparition that set him off on this journey down into a world that you and I don't understand, and he does, and he's more than happy to tell you about it for hours and hours at a time on his YouTube channel. Yes. So, did you feel like we were taking advantage of Mr. Tackpants tonight?
I think that you let it be known that, hey, we don't really understand what's going on. You've got these videos that you explain stuff. It makes sense to you, doesn't make any sense to us. And throughout the whole thing, I was cracking jokes, and he seemed to be responding, just fine.
I also like that Mr. Tackpants doesn't actually try to convince you of something. Like, he comes right
He's
out.
Like, I'm not trying to convince you, I'm just telling you what I know.
Whereas with the conspiracy theorist people that call in, they are trying to convince you. They're trying to get you to buy into their vision of the world, whether it's the reptilians or whether it's, some other conspiracy theory about how the government can control everything and all that. They're trying to get you to become one of them, and that's why the chemtrail people that call in, they get so frustrated with us because we ask them critical questions about their claims. You can't ask Mr. Tackpants a critical question because you can't understand the claims he's making in the first place. I can understand the claims that the conspiracy theorists make.
Yes.
They can put thoughts together. Whether they're logical or not is another question, but they can put, a theory together that some people find believable, and I don't. And I ask critical questions about that because, I want to find, where the holes are in the theory, or I just want to hear what the answers to the questions are. So those people are putting forth an idea that is subject to debunking. You can't debunk Mr. Tackpants unless you check his math, and he goes through it so fast, it's hard to really follow all that.
Yes.
So it's like it's not even in the same category as somebody like a Lauren from New York or Sam from Texas that calls it. Tackpants is not even anywhere near those folks.
Whole other universe.
Exactly. So I just wanted to share him with you because, as I said, he's undiscovered. I mean, go to his website, Mr. Tackpants, MrTackpans.blogspot.com. Click on any one of his videos. You'll see he's hardly been seen by anyone. So I thought he was an interesting personality and wanted to share him with you. And plus, I like the idea of somebody just getting in their car, turning on the car radio, and hearing Mr. Tackpants rambling about whatever it is he's talking about and wondering what it is they've just tuned into. Yeah. That's just kind of fun for me. So, 855-450-FREE. That's the SACL CAI toll-free line. You can bring up anything that you want. And if you didn't get a chance to get your question in for Mr. Tackpants, you can contact him directly through his Facebook account, and I'm sure he'd be happy to entertain whatever questions you have. So, let's get into this news here, because there are things to talk about in the world, including Detroit. We on this show have been following the Detroit situation for at least a few years, and watching as the property values tumble. There was I remember some kind of a soccer stadium that had been built for millions of dollars that sold for something like $600,000 a couple of years back. Of course, some houses in Detroit are selling for $1, or $20 or $1,000 for like a pretty decent looking home. There's all kinds of just economic calamity happening there. People are leaving in droves. The population of Detroit has dropped dramatically over the last couple of decades, and it's a dying city. There have been some pretty desperate things that the Detroit government has done in order to, I guess, stave off the total loss of all the humans from their area, but they haven't really done things that people are agreeing with, like they cut back policing services. They made it so that you couldn't go into the police department unless it was business hours. Normally, you used to be able to go in 24 hours a day. You can't now in certain neighborhoods until it's 8 in the morning. They're only open from like 8 to 4. So